Hey everyone, I wanted to do another comic book collection video, and today I'm going to be going over my My Little Pony comic book collection. So, not really sure where to start here. I guess I'll start with the Omnibus collections here. So right here is the Friendship is Magic Omnibus Volume 1. Really cool, really happy to have this. There is a lot of really cool stuff in here. The comics were freaking amazing, especially like early on. The early comics were made during like just this really like perfect moment in the franchise when everything was, I think, at its best. So there's Volume 1, and then right here is Volume 2. And the artwork is amazing in these comics. Like, I can flip to a random page, and the artwork is really, really cool, just anywhere. And then I don't have a Volume 3, but I have Volume 6? Yeah, this went on for quite a while. And one of the interesting things with the comics actually evolved right along with the show. So yeah, we have, like, any new characters that were introduced. Twilight has wings now in the later comics. And here's Volume 7. Not sure if this is... I don't think this is the last. Okay, on the back it says 79 to 88. I don't know exactly how many issues that the main series ran for. But there was a second My Little Pony comic series, or well, actually there was quite a few of them, but the main second one that I really liked was Friends Forever. This was a really cool comic, and this is Omnibus Volume 1 of Friends Forever. The really cool thing with Friends Forever is the whole concept was taking like some random characters, pairing them together, and seeing how they bounce off each other. Would they be friends? What kind of friends would they be? That was a really cool thing, and really took advantage of the enormous cast that My Little Pony had built up. And like the other ones, the very first Friends Forever comics were made at like this really perfect point in time where I feel like the show was like really strong and had a lot to offer. Volume 2 right here. Really cool. I love the artwork on the covers. See, Jay Fosgate got to do a lot of the Friends Forever comics. I really like him. He was cool. And then, Volume 3. There's no... Okay. 25 to 38. I don't know how many issues Friends Forever lasted either. And, let's see. I'll talk about this thing next. Art is Magic. This is a My Little Pony art book. It's not just a typical art book, though. It's mainly focused around the comic book and showcasing a bunch of the art featured in all the various comics and stuff. This came out pretty early on, and I think there's a second volume of this out right now that collects some of the newer stuff that they've done in the comic. Next up, I'll talk about some individual issues that I have. First up, I have two variant covers of issue number 29 of Friends Forever, and I have this because they have Maud on the cover, and I like Maud a lot. That's also the reason why I picked up issue number 20 of Friendship is Magic, because Maud's on the cover. There are a few other issues with Maud on the cover that I don't have yet. I think this was the very first Friendship is Magic comic. I'm pretty sure. Ponytails. Let's see, so here's the first one, and I believe like each comic centered around a specific pony. Yep, that's what it looks like. So, Ponytails, each of the main 6 got like their own featured story. Then there was a second volume covering the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Oh, okay, it says right on the back. Covering the Cutie Mark Crusaders, Princess Celestia, Spike, and Luna. Okay, cool. It's got the same artwork as the other comics. Really cool. Love that. They consistently had some really good artwork all across all the My Little Pony comics. I guess I'll talk about this next. Here's the My Little Pony the Movie prequel. It's kinda neat, I guess. It provides some really interesting backstory to some of the characters from the My Little Pony movie. I'm not really that big of a fan of the movie, but it was okay, I guess. I wasn't super big into the movie. I did like the Equestria Girl movies okay. Especially Rainbow Rocks. And I do have the Equestria Girls comic collection, which has My Little Pony Annual and the Holiday Special. So, all Equestria Girls themes. Unfortunately, the Equestria Girls comics didn't take off, I guess, because as far as I know, this is the only one there is. I haven't seen any other Equestria Girl-themed My Little Pony comics. So, yeah, a whole bunch of Friendship is Magic paperbacks. These are heavy. Kind of why I like having the omnibuses, because they're a bit more compact. It's nice to have everything all in one little convenient section. So right here is Friendship is Magic Volume 7. Collects 25 to 28. So some of these I think I might actually have in those omnibuses. One of the other reasons I like the omnibuses is that the individual issues sometimes have loose pages. The omnibuses will sometimes have loose pages too. It's just a thing with some paperback collections. So yeah, it's got some pages that stick out weird there. Yeah. But can't really do much about that. And next up is Volume 8. I love that cover there. Got all that great artwork, all the great comics in there, 29 to 33. And, oh yeah, a few of these have library binding on them. So here's one with, like, plastic on it, and it's got, yeah, a little Union City, April 2016. Okay. So apparently this was discarded from a library, 34 to 37. Oh, and the back couple of pages are loose in that one, unfortunately. And, oh, this one still has a little library sticker on the corner there. Issues 38 to 42, Volume 10. Oh, that's a crazy cover. And then here we got Volume 11. I remember getting this one a couple of years ago, and I don't think I read it more than once. Let's see. By Volume 11, these were pretty far into the series. Let's see, 43 to 47. Let's see, I see Starlight Glimmers there. They got that table map thing. Here's Volume 12. Let's see, oh, another library binding one with a little sticker on there. Not a whole lot to say there. And then here we got Friendship is Magic Volume 13. Okay. 10, 12, 13. I thought there was one that I was missing. Okay, I'm missing 14. Here's 15. Top is all dug up. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, yeah. Let's see, what is this one? 64 to 68. Okay. Oh, and this was from Prince George's County Memorial Library System. It's so weird, so many of these My Little Pony books came from libraries. Like, what do the libraries do? They buy the books and then immediately get rid of them. It's so weird. So what do I want to go over next? I'll talk about some of the special stuff I have. Here's Fiendship is Magic. This was a collection of backstory one-shot comics for some of the villains of the series. Some of these are pretty cool. T-Rex is interesting. Nightmare Moons is kind of lame. Chrysalis's is kind of lame. Sombra's is one of my favorite My Little Pony comics, like, period. And I'm not really that happy whenever they try to do a follow-up to it, which they've done a few times, and I'm not a fan. It reminds me of Bardock of Dragon Ball Z. He had this one really great special, but then everything after that either just feels too fanficky or it just seems to miss the whole point. Like, it's a tragedy. It doesn't need to have a happy ending. And one of the things with Sombra is, like, in the show, he's not really a redeemable character at all, but in the comic, he is a pretty sympathetic character who had really bad stuff happen to him for really no reason. And then they tried to make it better, from what I remember, later on. In fact, it might have been in this next thing that I'm going to talk about. Legends of Magic. Yeah, so we have the magic whatever people. I can't remember what this group of, like, magic ponies were called. The Pillars or something? I can't remember now. It was from way late in the show. I wasn't as big of a fan as I used to be, but anyway, artwork is still, like, really incredible in this. Even if, yeah, I tried reading this, and some of these are good, like Rockhoof there. I like Rockhoof. He consistently, there's good stuff with him. The others, though, they're not that interesting to me. And here we got Volume 2 of Legends of Magic. Oh, and there's a Twilight and Baby Spike on the back. That is cool. Let's see, we got some backstory for the Dazzlings. Bunch of... You know, I'm not sure if I ever read this. I don't think I ever read this. I bought it brand new. Transformers, My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise, and Magic of Cybertron. These were really bizarre crossover team-up comics of Transformers and My Little Pony, of all things. One of them is a sequel to the other, but I don't remember which is which. I haven't read these in about a year now. But I remember them being pretty entertaining, and I'm not a big Transformers guy. When it comes to Transformers, I know Beast Wars, and that's about it. I don't really know or care much about any other Transformers series. I know some of the original G1 Transformers, but it gets really confusing because there's like a bazillion characters, and also it goes off in several different directions, depending on which continuity that you're watching or reading. Pretty fun comic from what I remember, and originally I didn't even know that there were 2 volumes. So that was cool to find a second volume, and the thing with these, one of them is focused more on the pony side of things, while the other one is focused more on the Transformers side of things, so that's something you'll want to look into before you get these, because I don't remember which was which, actually. And then right here we have the first issue of My Little Pony Classics Reimagined. I don't really know much about this. So I found this at my comic book store, and I was like, oh, hey, cool, they're still doing stuff with the G4 ponies, that's cool. But, I was expecting this entire comic to be like a one-shot, like it'd be kind of like the old Classics Illustrated comics, where one comic tells, like it summarizes some classic story. This, it's part of Little Women, but with ponies. Some of it works, but I wasn't really that big of a fan. I'm not a big Little Women fan, sorry. I used to have the first issue of My Little Pony Generations, which was this really weird crossover between the original G1 ponies from way back in the 80s and the Friendship is Magic ponies, and that was touted as like the big finale to all the G4 comics. I read the first issue and it was okay, but it didn't really do anything that I wanted it to. It made up all of its own characters, there was all these new characters that came in, they didn't really utilize the existing characters as well as I think they could have. Here we got My Little Pony the Manga, Complete Manga Omnibus. I remember the first one came out, that was a big surprise. I definitely did not expect a My Little Pony manga. If it even really is a manga, or if it's just a comic that they're calling a manga, because they do that too. Like, I seem to remember this was, like, written, like, in Japan, primarily for Japanese audiences. It's gotta be pretty weird, though. Like, Twilight has wings, and as far as I know, they didn't get that far in their version of the show. Like, they only got the first 2 seasons and then the movie. You know, I don't even remember much of this. I read some of it, but I don't remember this very well. Anyway, I think there's another manga omnibus now, so that'll be something to look into in the future. Okay, I guess the last thing to talk about is the I Can Read comics. So yeah, these are the only G5 comics that I have, the I Can Read comics. The first one, let's see, Sunny's Day, is all about... Sunny is kind of bummed because her dad is dead. Yeah. Like, this is an extremely young aiming book, but yeah, they went with... She's bummed because her dad's dead, and Izzy comes to cheer her up. Alright, like, it's a good story, but comics, like, I know level 1, and I did have some people tell me that, like, you're expecting too much from this because it's for little kids, it's not going to be like a normal comic. Well, I was expecting something more like Spidey Super Stories, like simplified comics, but yeah, this was like basically just a storybook that has occasional word balloons. Same with this one, it was so much like this one, I didn't even ever bother doing a video just for this one. The artwork in here, oh, it's from Agnes Garboska, who was an artist in the original comics, and she was a decent artist in those. Here, though, it doesn't really look like her style. It kind of looks like flash puppets that were just kind of assembled into place a lot of the times, and also the faces are really weird. I think she might have been trying to adapt her style to make them look more three-dimensional, because G5 is all in CGI, but I don't really think it worked. I do like this better than the Tell Your Tale cartoon. It does look better than that. So yeah, there's all the My Little Pony comics I have, I think. There might be like one or two stragglers somewhere in my massive closet full of even more comics. So yeah, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.